Hi everyone, my name's Heather Bryson Banks and this is my very first video blog about the fact that I've just discovered that I have a kind of autism called pathological demand avoidance, and this is like day 2 of my journey of discovery, and I think some people are going to find it really difficult to grasp the fact that I possibly could have some kind of autism. A couple of reasons for that. I'm a very good communicator. I have really good skills with communicating and body language. I have a high IQ. I'm quite intelligent. I appear very sociable. Also, my son has Aspergers, and I've been a great advocate for autism and people understanding autism. My husband has Aspergers, and I was never even considered I could be on the spectrum. I've always thought, well, I know I have really big problems with anxiety, and I have had a lot of other problems which I'll discuss in a second. But it was, so I'll just tell you the date. I don't know the date, but it's Easter Saturday 2018. There's just been a programme on Channel 4 called Are You Autistic? I was watching it because I thought it'd be really interesting to find out about my son and my husband. And a big thing about, there was a big thing on it about how women are often undiagnosed or misdiagnosed because women present in very different ways. And the thing that made me start thinking about myself was the fact that women are very good at masking, social masking and camouflaging. And they showed a specific bit which clicked with me, which was they did a sort of speed dating test to see if men would recognise that the women who were diagnosed with autism were actually putting on these sort of social masking techniques, mimicking the great use of body language and all that, which I'm so good at, but not necessarily having that deeper understanding, and masking their sort of anxiety and everything. Got me just sort of looking on the National Autistic Society's website, and I had recently just decided to do a great charity hike in aid of the National Autistic Society, mostly for my son and my husband, and now it's got a greater meaning for me. So I wouldn't say I fall into the Asperger's category at all, really. The parts about autism where I suddenly started to click was the sensory aspects. So I mean, I have really hypersensitive to smells. I can't wear perfumes. I can't stand behind people with strong perfumes on artificial kind of smells. If I'm on a bus with someone, I feel like I'm going to be sick. But also the other thing that is really recently, they have had a video on the National Autism Society website about, it's called Diverted, and it's about being on public transport. I used to be fine on public transport, really, up to a point, but recently, in the last 5-10 years, really, I cannot go on trains and basically buses, anything. It really, really, really stresses me out, and I have to have like diazepam or whatever, which is horrible. But that video in particular I was like, that is me, but I'm not autistic, so why does that resonate with me so much? But it's the sensory, the touch. I'm really bad with touch. This is so bad. I've done blogging and vlogging for years about things which now I realise are related to my autism, but at the time I didn't think were. So I became really morbidly obese because of my relationship with food and underlying anxiety, blah blah blah. And I had a gastric bypass, so you may have seen me blog and vlog about under the name Bariatric Blogger. But I would always try and cover my bedroom because everyone thinks I'm so weird. Me and my husband have to sleep with a plastic barrier between us, and not because we don't love each other and stuff, but because I cannot bear breathing, or him breathing on me, or me breathing on him, or touch unexpected touch during the night. It's different when we're making love or whatever. That's different. That is not sleeping time. I don't like it with anyone. I don't like touch. I don't like unexpected cuddles from behind, for instance. I feel like I'm going to be fucking kidnapped or something. So that was one of the main things. I used to cover that. I used to take it down, and I used to pretend we hadn't got like separate beds pushed together. And I used to say, oh, it's all very European, it's because we lived in Sweden and stuff. So it's the sensories, the touch, the smells, sounds. If there is a background noise, it will absolutely do my head in. But then there's heat and cold at night. I always have to sleep with the fan on because I need that noise, because the noise of that constant white noise blocks out the other weird noises that I might hear. And also I get really, really hot, or I feel like I'm going to be really, really hot, and that starts getting me anxiety. So then I have cold feet. I have to have cold feet. I can't eat food in the dark. Like, so if everyone's sitting there watching a film, I can't eat it if I can't see it properly. So like I'm always like, I don't eat dark food, and I make a joke out of all these things, so people think, oh, it's just one of her weird things. But now I look at it, I'm thinking, wow, these are all kind of autistic features. I have to sit in a certain place on a bus. I have to sit on the right-hand side, not behind the driver, but so I can see out of the window if I am going to travel by bus. I need to know where it's going, when where it's stopping, if it's stopping for so long, why is it stopping for so long. I really need to be in control. Now, I'll just quickly talk about this PDA thing. So, pathological demand avoidant profile of autism is characteristic. I have to bring up the page that I've got, so sorry if I look weird while I'm doing this. I'm just reading it out for you. So, people with a demand avoidant profile can appear to have better social understanding and communication skills than others on the spectrum, and are often able to use this to their advantage, which I have, but they might not have as good an understanding of social matters as it seems. Also, the main thing which really resonated with me is where is it? I've lost it now. It's accepted as a behavioural profile that is seen in some individuals on the autism spectrum, and those who present with this particular diagnostic profile are driven to avoid everyday demands and expectations to an extreme extent. This demand avoidant behaviour is rooted in an anxiety-based need to be in control, and that's the bit that I thought, wow, yeah, that is true. And I am so much better now, and I really want to get these videos out there because I have developed some really effective coping strategies and ways that I have managed to live quite a really decent life. I mean, I've been over the next few weeks you will hear all the kind of crazy stuff I've got up to and managed to survive. But actually, I'm at a place now where I'm thriving rather than surviving, which is really mad, because in some of my other video blogs, you will see me have massive meltdowns and breakdowns, but I'm doing quite well. So it's really important for me to share, because it's really quite an unknown and sort of discussed topic, and there isn't that much research out there. There's a few blogs, there's a few papers, but there really needs to be more understanding, especially about adult women who've had this since childhood and how they've managed to cope. So I'll go through some of the things. So people would have thought I was either like being a complete lazy bitch or antisocial, or that I just mostly being lazy, like leaving jobs, not being able to hack a 9-to-5 kind of job and stuff like that. Being a bit messy. It's just overwhelming. Resists and avoids the ordinary demands of life. Uses social strategies as part of avoidance. Distracting, giving excuses. I'm really good at that. Appears sociable, but lacks understanding. Experiences excessive mood swings and impulsivity. I know I've been terrible with that in the past. As I say, not so much now. Appears comfortable in role play and pretense. The story of my life. I have literally been in role after role after role. I'm probably doing a role now as this kind of expert on PDA, but it's the way that I'm coping and it works. Displays obsessive behaviour that often focuses on people rather than things. Now, so I'll just click back to my screen so I can see myself. So, for example, my son, he has Aspergers and autism, and he does fixate on these things, and he's quite obsessive, and he really likes space or aeroplanes, or he likes things, or he lines things up in a row, and I don't particularly do that, so I didn't see that as an autistic behaviour that I had. But I have always been really obsessive about, say, like a celebrity, or like Michael Jackson. I was in the Michael Jackson fan club and everything. Or like a teacher at school who I was absolutely obsessed with, or like an older girl friend who I just wanted to emulate, or something like that. And I've realised now that they are those obsessive behaviours. So it is different from in males. So you will think of the Sheldon character out of Big Bang Theory. I'm not like that, and I'm much more creative and very arty, less scientific. Maths, absolutely, it really freaks me out. I don't understand it. I'm not obsessed with numbers in that sense. However, I am really, really obsessed with patterns and formulas and symbols and historical meanings and ancient alien theory, and like I've always been a complete conspiracy theorist and things like that. Always have to be in education. I like to be learning. I'd much rather be on a learning course or doing some voluntary work than in an actual real paid job. So we're going to discuss all these things over my next few blogs, and I want to be part of a discovery for the people who are studying it right now, the adults who are living with it, the children who are growing up with it thinking, I'll be classed as disabled, I'm never going to do anything with my life. Absolutely wrong. And don't forget that these autistic traits that are seen as a disability can sometimes be really, really, really positive things, but because and now we have the support and the understanding a little bit around this, so this is so important. I'm sorry it was a bit of a long one to start with, trying to keep it under 10 minutes, haven't quite managed that, but this is me, Heather Bryson Banks, coming out as having being on the autistic spectrum and with a specific profile of demand avoidant, pathological, that sounds bad, demand avoidant profile PDA. I'll see you on the other side.